if we just went straight to Dumbledore, there wouldn't be Harry Potter. It would just end the Sorcerer's Stone.
By a teacher that tried to kill Harry.
Yeah, yeah.
Time out, guys.
Welcome back, witches, wizards, and muggles. I am Jeremiah.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're back with yet again another chapter review. And it's been another couple weeks since we have recorded. And, aside from what I got going on between us, I have seen that you, because we've talked about your involvement in plays and, past episodes, and it seems like you're getting more into it. So I thought that'd be kind of a neat thing to talk about.
Okay, yeah. So, in a past life, I did a lot of acting. I lived in Hollywood. Started getting into acting seriously when I was in my early 20s, and I'm here in the mountains of North Carolina, and they've got a great community theater here, the Hart Theater, H-A-R-T, Hart Theater. And the directors there are great. The people there are great. And they do their auditions for all six of their yearly productions in February
Oh,
because
wow.
you'll have people
Six?
yeah, you'll have people travel, because each showing is 3 or 4 or 5 weekends, right? Each
You
production.
should have told them. Have you? No, have you guys thought about seven? What about seven?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they will do seven because they do a Christmas one that they do.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
but anyway, so three of them are musicals, and obviously three are not musicals. And this year's theme are their productions where the lead character is a female or females, and so I wasn't really going to audition for any of the musicals, though I can sing. And it's a 2 day thing. It's Sunday night and Monday night are the auditions. So a couple of the plays just had no parts that fit me because there are a lot of female characters, and then it's either a very old guy or it's a very young teenager, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So I showed up. I auditioned for one play called Ripcord, which is about two older women that are in the same room in a assisted living facility, and they're polar opposites. And it's a comedy, and the
Oh,
script
okay.
looked
Yeah.
script
Yeah.
looked great. And so there
Oh,
were a
yeah.
couple parts in there that might have worked for me. Um, and then the second night, I just went down to help out, and I asked the directors of the musicals. I said, "Hey, did you guys get enough men audition for the musicals?" And they're like, "No, no, we didn't." So I said, "Okay, well, I will audition." So I auditioned for those. I got callbacks to all three of them. Um, and so I've got parts in two of them.
Dang.
And I think I would have gotten a part in the other one, but my I have a golf trip planned at the end of May, and that's when that play's going on. And the director, she goes, "Is there any flexibility on this weekend, that weekend?" I was like, "No, it's."
Priorities, man.
I mean, we do one a year. It's 12 of us.
Yeah.
We've got the
Yeah.
Airbnb, flights are booked. I mean,
Yeah.
like
That's big schedule. Yeah.
yeah,
Now
I hate.
I seen you were directing one. And you
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
you
yeah.
kind of talked about your
So
experience there on Facebook too.
yeah, so during the off season, they have what's called studio season. And studio season are smaller plays, no more than six cast. Um, and what they're for, I think the main thing that they're for is in order to be able to direct a full scale production, play, musical, whatever, they want to see that you can direct something small.
Yeah.
So the girl, I'm part of one production in studio season, and it's I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a night of short. Like it's not a long thing; it's nine smaller plays,
Yeah.
short
Yeah.
plays put together.
Okay.
So I'm directing one of those short ones, and I'm also acting in it. it's four actors. It's a fairly simple but fun little play, and then I'm in another one. So
All right, let's just dive into this. Like we said,
man,
chapter 14. We're getting near the end of this book. Norbert
3
the
more chapters. Yeah.
Norwegian Ridgeback, which is a bit of a random chapter, but it fits Hagrid. It completely fits Hagrid. It kind of
Sure,
explains him a little bit more. So we'll go
sure.
ahead and get into that 7-word summary. Okay, so mine. All right. Hagrid, Dragon, Trio, and Draco. Oh my.
Mine, I think I settled on because I come up with 3 or 4. This chapter has me questioning everyone's intelligence.
Yes. But albeit Ron is smart in this chapter. He's smart in the books and in the movies. But Ron
But even
has.
still, there's a part in here where I question Ron's intelligence.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So we start with the opening chapter. Quirrell, however, must have been braver than they'd thought. And the weeks that followed, he did seem to be getting paler and thinner, but it didn't look as though he'd been cracked yet. So, if you remember the last chapter, Snape's trying to kind of get Quirrell to crack, trying to give him his little hocus pocus magic to get through. So, with everything going on, they think Snape is trying to steal the Sorcerer's Stone and figure out how to get past Fluffy. Hagrid's not quite telling him everything. They've taken on a fully grown troll. Harry has been nearly bucked from a bronking bucko. No, that's a tongue twister.
Snape spat.
Yes.
Anytime, like for real, anytime my wife does any sort of alliteration on accident, I'll go, Snape spat.
From being nearly bucked from his bronking bucko of a broomstick, Harry. That wasn't it either.
You said bronking or brucking there. I'm not sure. Being nearly bucked from his bucking bronco of a broomstick.
Yes, okay. I got it.
I enjoyed that a lot.
From Harry being nearly bucked off his bucking bronco of a broomstick,
Yes.
the whole mirror of Erised being found and then taken away, the invisibility cloak that Harry Potter's father left him. Now he can honestly say he can walk around with something that he has that his father passed down to him.
Pretty big, yeah.
Except he can't just go around telling everybody, like, hey, look, I have an invisibility cloak. Although I guess he could.
Which I think that's the most common sense that Harry uses.
Keeping that a secret, yes.
Yeah, keeping that a secret.
Yeah, I mean, man, I think if I had an invisibility cloak, I'd probably tell people.
Not a chance.
Not a
I
chance.
think, yeah, I mean, I grew up with the Superman mentality, where his dad is like, when you have something, and then if you let people know about it, they're going to try to use you. They're going to try to figure it out. They're going to try to take from you. It's
Oh man, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about superheroes and I forget who they were talking about, but how can you not recognize them? And then I thought Superman, Clark Kent, all he does is put on glasses. Oh, wow, I didn't know you were Superman.
Yeah.
Really? You
Where's
didn't
Clark?
know that?
Where's Clark?
Look, there's a guy over there that looks nothing like him. No, Clark
Yeah.
has glasses. No, that's not him.
Yeah.
Oh man, let's see, where was I? To finding out who Nicholas Flamel was, like I said, they didn't actually figure out who he was, but they kind of figured out how he was related to the Sorcerer's Stone. I just hope that Harry hadn't been walking around with that in his pocket the whole time, because
Gosh,
man,
yeah.
that's the worst. I mean, am I missing anything here?
No. I think you're covering a lot of what they've gone through and figured out in 13
Yeah,
chapters.
I mean, we've even had a chapter called Halloween that had nothing to do with Halloween, so
It was mentioned.
it was mentioned once or twice. So with all of this, you would think a normal 11-year-old would, I don't know, be scared straight. Nope, not the three of them. They even periodically checked to make sure Fluffy was still guarding the trapdoor. I mean, all they were doing was just kind of listening through the door to make sure he was still breathing. But the fact that they were in a area they weren't supposed to be, checking on a monster, little like 2 steps short of insane. I put too many tongue twisters in here, man.
You did this to yourself.
I
You did this
did.
to yourself.
I'm not thinking straight, is what it is.
Yeah.
They'd even gone a little bit farther and started sticking up for Professor Quirrell, which is great because in the movies, that's not in there at all.
Yeah.
So I think Ron was the one really kind of standing up for Professor Quirrell because he had like a little admiration for him for standing up to Snape. So that was a little neat thing they put in there. I mean, all in all, as of right now, Professor Quirrell doesn't seem like he's a bad teacher or a bad person. He just seems like he had a lot of stuff happen with him. We know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And of course, if you've ever suffered from the debilitating disorder of anxiety, I think we can all understand why Professor Quirrell is the way that he is.
Yeah, poor guy. Anything embarrassing in front of middle school, high school aged kids.
Oh,
That's
they're
tough.
just immediately going to make
They're
fun
brutal.
of you. I mean,
yeah, especially the purebloods. I mean, I could just imagine.
And to walk around smelling the way he does, that's not going to fly either.
Yeah.
Although the kids that age really have great hygiene.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. They either stink or they smell like they put a little bit too much perfume and cologne on.
What's the Hogwarts version of Axe body spray?
Yes.
All right. So obviously Harry and Ron, they're pretty excited about the events that is going on, right? So at the end of the last chapter, we talked about Harry heard Snape and Quirrell talking, so he tells Ron and Hermione immediately. But Hermione's like, okay, yeah. But Hermione, in Hermione fashion, is more concerned about exams that are coming up in a few months.
Yeah,
and so
as she would,
as she would
when you're worried about a stone being stolen from a 3-headed dog, right?
Yeah, by a teacher that tried to kill Harry.
Yeah.
Time out, guys. What about our year one exams? That, as Ron says, are ages away. And then what does she say? Like, oh, that's just seconds for Nicholas Flamel.
Yeah.
We don't have the Sorcerer's Stone.
And Ron's version of ages away were just 10 days. Now, I'm sure we've all been there. That's procrastination at its finest. How long do I have to write this 20-page essay? 2 weeks?
So,
okay. So the night before, I'm really going to hammer this thing down.
Yeah. But apparently the rest of the school felt the same way that Hermione felt. The professors and everybody were getting ready. So,
but to be fair, they don't know what's going on.
That is true.
Yeah.
They have no suspicions. I mean, I would imagine that the professors, understand that. I think that the professors, knowing what's in the castle that's being guarded by Fluffy, they understand.
Yeah.
And I think it probably heightened when they found out that there was a break-in at Hogwarts as well.
Yeah. Well,
so
could you imagine the other POV from the other students watching Harry, Hermione, and Ron kind of running around, like doing what they're doing? They're just at school doing school things and trying to get through their school work. I mean, I wonder what that would be like.
Well, and I don't think that Harry, Ron, and Hermione have really done anything outwardly suspicious at this point.
Yeah,
going to and from the library, nobody cares. Going down to visit Hagrid, nobody cares. They've not really done anything.
Well, Hogwarts just seems so dangerous from their point of view. So if you're on the
Sure.
outside looking in,
Yeah.
Hogwarts looks pretty calm. It's a safe
Yeah.
place that they're talking about,
Yeah.
but we don't get that view.
Yeah. So, I can imagine Harry and Ron are a little torn. They want to keep figuring out what's going on with Snape, and Hermione's like, bring it down. We've got these tests. We got to
I
study.
guess we've been here the whole semester. We could take 10 days to actually study now.
Yeah. And, Hermione wants the best for him, right? Hermione wants the best for him. But Hermione, she was the student that could study and study and study and study and study. And Harry and Ron seem like wing it guys. Yeah, we'll sit down to study, but we might not study. But even Hermione, and Ron's even like, what are you studying for? You
already know everything.
You know everything.
Yeah, well, it's like me when I'm in school, or when I was in school, and it's why I have a hard time learning anything. Like, I can study and study and study and I fail. And then I ask somebody else, I got an A. I'm like, well, how much studying did you do? Oh, I studied I don't know, right before the test. I'm like, I studied for 2 weeks for this test, and I failed.
Now I gotta be honest with you. I take good notes in class.
Oh yeah.
And I listen, I take good notes, and then the night before the test, I'll study those notes and then I'll do well. The only, when I took national boards, chiropractors have to take 5 national boards, and then you have to take a state board. But those I put in a lot of time. Those tests cost thousands of dollars, and if you fail one of them, it can push you from practicing back 6 months. So those are big deals. So definitely took that. But anyway, so there's just people that are book smart. There's people that are test smart. My brother, he's very book smart, but test dumb, and he'll admit that. He's like, I'm just bad at taking tests.
It's that anxiety
you've got the Hermiones and the Rons.
yes.
There are 2 categories.
I'm definitely with Ron.
And they're studying, and Ron's even like, I'm never gonna remember this.
Yep.
So it's like, Ron, we feel you. We feel you.
Yeah.
And so, but they're in the library, and as they're doing all of this, who shows up? The last person that you would think would be in the library, the keeper of the keys, Hagrid. Rubeus Hagrid shows up.
I would never expect him in there, honestly. I don't even think I'd expect him in the castle just because he's too big to be. He's got all this other stuff to do. You'd expect somebody else to bring him the books if he needed them.
Well, we know he eats at the staff table. I don't know if that's every night. I don't even think, there's in later books you see that Dumbledore's not at the staff table every night. Yeah. So I would assume that heads of houses have to be at the staff table. If not them, another professor that's, kind of keeping an eye on the house. But so anyway, so he's there and they see him and he looks like he's hiding something behind his back. When they ask him what it is, he's like, oh, nothing, don't worry about it. And we love Hagrid because he's very, very loyal to Dumbledore. And I think he wants to tell the kids what's going on, why he's there, why he's doing something. But, I honestly think, Hagrid's got PTSD from being expelled.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So if he thinks he's doing something that's even slightly like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I should not have said that. So he's just gonna be like, poor Hagrid. We love him.
It's like even when he tells them, he's thinking, I shouldn't be telling you guys this. Like when you talk to someone and you just keep talking, and when you're done, you're like, why did I should not have said that.
Yeah.
Bro, we all have a little bit of Hagrid in us, huh?
Yeah.
So Hagrid wants to change the subject, but what does he change it to? Oh, you're not still on about that Nicholas Flamel, are you? And Ron pipes up here. Oh no, we already figured that out ages ago.
Yeah.
And then
And he's like, and we know that he's guarded the Sorcerer's Stone. He's like, bro, you're gonna get me fired.
Yeah, and so this is the point where Hagrid's like, "Hey, okay, I guess I gotta tell him." So he tells him to come back later. You know, there's these three kids. There's this very, very protected, not only in Hogwarts, but in the Wizarding world. I mean, it was at Gringotts, so very few people know about it. And for these three, what are they, 11 still? And they found out? Like, oh, we know, we know who he is and how he's related to the stone. Yeah, the stone. Yeah, we know about the stone. But they probably have no idea what it is, but they know it's a stone. So he told them to come down to his hut later and see.
They know what the Sorcerer's Stone is.
Yeah,
because even
Hermione found out, of course.
And it said it on the back of the card. You know, the only one in existence is held by Nicholas, or maybe in the book it said, you know, the only one in existence. And they're like, "What's the Sorcerer's Stone?" Oh, it's elixir of life, or anything it touches turns to gold.
Yeah, it goes by many names, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to have a stone that does that.
Yeah, we've all heard the Midas hand story, and it doesn't end up well. So, so Hagrid tells him, you know, come back to my hut later, and he's going to figure out what he's comfortable with telling them in regards to the Sorcerer's Stone and Nicholas Flamel. But just like a curious kid that's been studying all day long, looking for excuses to stop studying, Ron jumped up as soon as Hagrid left and went right to where Hagrid was and brought back a handful of books and told everybody Hagrid was reading up on dragons. And I think at this point Hagrid has been, he said, "Oh, I would love a dragon." And they're just like, "What?" Ron even explained that even if Hagrid did want a dragon breeding was outlawed by the Warlocks Convention of 1709. So he wouldn't be stupid enough to bring in a dragon knowing they're illegal. And he remembers and explains that his brother Charlie works in Romania with dragons, and it's a very dangerous thing to try to train dragons. And I think at some point Hermione says, "You live in a wooden hut."
She does. So... Yeah. Oh my gosh. So obviously they go down to Hagrid's, they go down to the hut, and all the curtains are closed. Unusual. Door's locked. They knock on the door. He lets them in. Insanely hot inside the hut, to the point where, you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've gone into someone's house that was hot.
Yeah.
And I go, too hot. I don't really want to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, as warm as it was outside, there's a roaring fire going on. So obviously a little suspicious, or a little obvious to Ron, and obviously we'll find out shortly. Hagrid said he's always wanted a dragon. Then he starts reading books about dragons, and his hut is uncomfortably hot. Now, most dragon eggs must be incubated at temperatures of at least 100 degrees. Is that right? Is that what it says in there? Because fire is going to get way hotter than 100 degrees, but still.
I've looked it up. Still, I mean,
still hot. Yeah, still hot.
But it also does mention that their mothers blow fire directly on the egg. So
on them, yeah.
How periodic are they blowing the fire on it? Is it enough to heat it up a little bit, cool it down, heat it up, cool it down?
Yeah, we're not trying to have boiled dragon's eggs. That would be so sad.
Oh, God, Hagrid would be crushed. Yeah. He would be crushed.
Gosh. Oh, my gosh. So seeing as Hagrid probably didn't have an incubator, he obviously tried to make it as hot as he could, and thus the roaring fire. So just like kids, straight to the point, they immediately start asking questions about the Sorcerer's Stone, like what's guarding it aside from Fluffy. Ron and Harry were just way too direct with this question. Hagrid hates that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean...
beat around the bush with Hagrid.
Why be subtle? Yeah, why be subtle? Why be subtle? Let's just bombard Hagrid, with questions that make him insanely uncomfortable. Yeah, yeah, great plan, guys. Great plans. And he's like, I'm not telling you anything. And then Hermione, she's like, what'd she say? She goes, Hagrid, we know that you know everything that goes on around here.
She got the
Obviously,
butter
Ron.
out of the fridge.
Yeah. Ron and Harry going nowhere. She's like, I'll good cop, bad cop this. I got this. I got this. So she butters up Hagrid. Hagrid takes huge pride in what he does. He obviously the fact that Dumbledore trusts him so much. He wants to do great work.
Oh, he stands up taller.
At Hogwarts. What Hermione did, it made him puff out his chest. Feeling important, dedicated, prideful. Yeah. So now he gives us a little hint, aside from what Fluffy's guarding. He says that there's charms, or he starts listing, right? He starts listing the other professors. So McGonagall, Quirrell, Flitwick, Dumbledore, obviously Fluffy, and then he's like, "Oh, who am I missing? Who am I missing? Oh yeah, Snape. I can only imagine Harry, Ron, and Hermione hearing that Snape.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So they start putting two and two together. Obviously, the meeting between Professor Snape and Quirrell, when he's like, hey, we'll have another conversation later when you've decided where your loyalty is. Snape obviously knows how to get past his own thing. Now he needs to know how to get past Quirrell's. And he wants Quirrell to tell him what enchantment to use. And so that's kind of where the Golden Trio's head is, I would say.
So, we all know what happens. Does Professor Quirrell actually have an enchantment? Or is it that it's been decided what the end game is? Is that his quote-unquote enchantment?
Yeah, because isn't there? It's been a while since I've read it. Isn't there a troll down there? Isn't there something?
Because the troll was released in the dungeons.
Yeah, the troll was
so
released in the dungeons.
If
but
that was his...
don't they step over something? Oh man, it's been a while since I've read it. Because obviously you've got.
we'll get to it, obviously. But...
yeah, I know Dumbledore's. I know Snape's. I know Flitwick's. I know McGonagall's. We know Sprout's.
I think Quirrell's might be Quirrell himself.
No. Well, Quirrell's not just waiting down there.
Well.
No, I gotta look it up.
This is what you get with Squibs Corner. We're deep diving as we are on the episode.
Yeah, it was a troll. In Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone,
so
Quirrell used a troll to defend the Philosopher's Stone.
So,
See.
But the troll wasn't down there, right?
So,
or did they briefly go over it, but like, oh, they already knew how to do. That was.
Well, that's the thing,
whatever.
because not to give away too much, but because Quirrell was already down there before the Golden Trio, they didn't need to do anything, and it wasn't in the movie.
I remember now. I remember.
They didn't have Snape's in the movie, which I thought was a pity.
Yeah. I remember exactly it.
Yeah,
I remember everything now. Yeah.
Your boy's wicked smart. Wicked smart.
Go to New York.
What movie?
That was a terrible accent.
What? Your boy's wicked smart. What movie is that?
Oh, I can picture dude in my head.
I think everybody should realize that I have movie quotes every episode almost. It's
the same person that's in Ted, but I forgot his name.
No, it is not, but I love it's the same accent.
Same exact accent, huh?
I think you're thinking of Mark Wahlberg.
Yes, I am.
Same accent, but years before that. You're wicked smart. Think of Academy Award winning.
Yeah, that doesn't do nothing.
All right, so that was Ben Affleck in Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah, I've seen it a couple times. Yeah.
Please, wicked smart.
Back to our regularly scheduled chapter.
Yes.
By this time, they started asking if they could open up a window because it was hot. It's like me going to my grandpa's house. it's hot. So I look at the thermostat. It says like 83. I'm like, so he has a fan that takes a remote to turn on. And I'm like, how do you turn on this fan? Well, why would you want me to turn on the fan, Jeremiah? And he's just covered in sweat. I'm like,
my gosh.
it's hot. Why is it so hot in here? So they walked into the hut. It's boiling hot, and Hagrid has been seen in the library looking at dragon books. Well, okay, so in the books, Ron isn't stupid. Ron looked around a little bit, then immediately spotted the black egg on the fire and knew right away what it was. And then he explained, well, I know what it is, but how did you get it? It's like he
Must
boom.
have cost you a fortune, yeah.
Yeah. And Hagrid explained, well, I won it off of some guy in a pub. Now, I forgot to look this up, so we might be doing a little bit more deep diving. Hold on.
Whoa.
How did Hagrid get this dragon? Aside from what we just said.
Are you asking me this?
Yeah.
He won it off a guy in a pub.
Well, aside from what we just read, who was the person that, quote unquote, lost to Hagrid?
I mean, I know who it is. It's Quirrell.
Okay,
since we're asking questions.
Okay, all right.
Since we're asking questions, don't come at me, bro. If you're gonna trivia me, you bring it.
I forgot, so I thought, a pop quiz is perfect here.
Name one of the two types of dragon that are native to Britain.
There's a Hungarian horntail.
No, that would obviously be native to Hungary, you goofball. It's in the name.
Well, I could think of the Norwegian Ridgeback, the Hungarian.
Ron mentions it. It.
There's a third one that I can't think of off the top of my head.
There's two that are, because remember they talk about dragons, and Harry's like, they're not dragons. He goes, yeah, the ministry has a time. Well, you don't see any in England. Yeah, there's two.
A Norwegian Ridgeback.
That's from Norway. What is happening? Slow down. You can't say Hungarian horntail and Norwegian. Those are other countries. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
The British dragon, man. I don't.
All right, let's see. There's a common green Welsh.
Okay.
And then something Hebridean? Something.
It's all ringing a bell, but not completely. Like half ringing it.
Let's see. Common Welsh green and Hebridean black.
There we go. I would have never guessed that. So.
But your guesses did make me chuckle, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, it works. Hey. Here at Squibs Corner, we act like we don't know stuff so that we can have fun.
Yeah.
We all know the answers to everything. We just got to pretend every once in a while that we don't know. Hey, I did buy some Harry Potter books. I bought like an unofficial Harry Potter, like Hogwarts books, kind of tells you a little bit about, stuff going on in there. And then I bought a crossword. So,
Nice.
That has nothing to do with anything, really. But anyways.
But I'm glad. I should not have said that. I should not have told you that.
So Hagrid, like we said, he won it off of some guy in a pub. They started asking Hagrid, how he got it and if he even knew anything about having a dragon, which Hagrid is a man of many odd creatures. So, like that person that just has random knowledge of something. Well, he has random knowledge of how to take care of weird animals that you would never consider pets. He sees the good in them.
Magical creatures.
Yeah, magic.
He
So
loves
he reminds him he's been researching, which obviously they know.
it.
And when the egg hatches, he's supposed to feed it a bucket of brandy mixed with, what do you say, a gallon of chicken blood every half hour? How are you supposed to get
Seems a bit
that much stuff? I mean, brandy, as far as I know, is expensive. And if it is a gallon of chicken blood or even a half gallon of that, how are you getting that much chicken blood? Like, that would require massive amounts of chicken. I know he's walking around and he's getting chickens, he's acquiring chickens, but it's not by the hundreds, I would imagine.
No. Yeah.
Unless he found a place to buy chicken blood, which I would guess he did.
He hangs out in Nocturne Alley. He's got connections.
So now I'm pretty sure, like we said, Hagrid is well aware dragons are illegal to have, but apparently that's not going to stop him from having a rare Norwegian Ridgeback dragon, which we all know is not British. Oh God! the word
we are not editing this episode at all.
The word just fell out of my head. It was right there, and when I said it, I said, "Nope."
Yeah, not a chance.
It's not native to Britain. There we go. Okay, so Norwegian Ridgeback. I had to look that up. So it's likely a play on the Rhodesian Ridgeback, a South African hunting dog used to hunt lions, which I didn't know that was a thing. Mm-hmm. There's two other breeds of Ridgeback that do exist: the Thai Ridgeback and Fuquak Ridgeback. Additionally, Ridgeback is a British bicycle company, so that's random. Just little random sprinkles of information thrown in there. Talking about dragons, or are we talking about bicycles? I don't know.
Yeah.
Which context do you prefer?
I like dragons. I'd rather talk about dragons.
Well, okay. So that brings me. Let me ask you this: if you could have any animal in existence, or maybe create an animal, magical, non-magical, what would you have and why?
That's such a wild question.
I'll let you know. I don't have an answer for this. So this
my mind is going all over the place. It's like, having a dragon would be cool, Game of Thrones style. Mm-hmm. It would be great, if Aslan from the Chronicles of Narnia were, a sidekick, very wise. My daughter loves horses, absolutely loves horses.
What about the creature from Neverending Story?
I don't. What was he?
A creepy looking thing that I don't think anybody would want.
Yeah, it's like, what is that?
It looked like
that's a good question.
A mix of different animals put together that did not want to be alive anymore.
I know.
Maybe it's a stupid answer, but a dog that could talk, that'd be pretty neat. I mean, if I had to come off the top of my head, that's a lame answer, but
I don't know.
Cool for dogs to
talk. I'm thinking maybe one of my favorite Disney animated films was Hercules, and I always thought Pegasus. I always thought Pegasus was a cool sidekick. Yeah, I don't know.
A monkey would be pretty cool if you can keep him tame. But we've all heard the horror stories about.
I mean, same rules with a dragon. A dragon would be cool if you could keep it tame.
Where would you keep it though? Where would you keep a dragon? Because
anywhere I wanted. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I mean, they even bring up like how fast this Norwegian Ridgeback grows and how big it. Like, hey, the dragon is going to be your hut. So your
hut is made out of wood.
you could just walk out your front door and hop on your dragon and go to work.
I have a dragon. I don't work anymore. People pay me to pet the dragon.
That's true.
I don't work any longer.
Yeah, $5 to pet the dragon, $10 for the photo, $100 to sit on him. If you want him to fly, that's
ten
about
thousand
200.
dollars. Yeah, right. No, $10,000. You want to ride a dragon? $10,000. Let's go. There'll be people.
Oh, there would be.
I'll fly over to Saudi Arabia. I'll go to Abu Dhabi, and I'll be like, "Hey, $100,000. You can rent the dragon for parties." And they'll be like, "Yes, yes, I'm good. I'm good."
I love the confidence. Just yes, yes.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah. The royal.
Of course.
Yeah, there's sneaky money over there. There's oof. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. All right. So, the Golden Trio, they know Snape knows about the Sorcerer's Stone. They're still worried about Quirrell. Now Hagrid has a dragon. So now we've got to study for exams. Now we've got people coming after the Sorcerer's Stone and a dragon. Great.
Imagine the anxiety on top of that. Like, so you got these tests. Hagrid has a dragon that is illegal, and he could get in real big trouble for. And you're supposed to go study for these tests, knowing that situation going on over there.
They feel like they're responsible. Like now they feel like they have to fix it.
That's true. Oh man, what are we going to do about this? Nothing. Nothing.
Walk away.
Yeah,
Walk away.
Hagrid's his own person. I mean, if his hut burns down, that's tragic. But
yeah, Dumbledore, go tell Dumbledore. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing here?
If we just went straight to Dumbledore,
Dumbledore is.
Well, if we just went straight to Dumbledore, there wouldn't be Harry Potter. It would just end the Sorcerer's Stone. I mean, hey Dumbledore, what's up? Oh, let me fix this.
Dumbledore knows things.
He more or less knows everything. He's just like
more or less knows everything.
I'm gonna sit back and watch what happens here.
Yeah. So as Ron and Harry, they kind of get more annoyed at studying. Hermione keeps, stay on the studying. They just want to take a break from studying. Harry gets an
I was gonna say Harold.
Harry gets an owl from Hagrid with 2 words. It's hatching. They argued about whether they were going to go down right away, watch the egg hatch. Hermione got into her studying. Obviously, they'd get in trouble if they skipped class. 11-year-old mindset. So anyway, as they're chatting about this,
11-year-old mindset. Well, you're not going to care if you skip class. I mean, you're going to want to go.
They're talking. They're talking about, should we go now? Should we go later? It's a dragon. I mean, we want to go do it. And they're having this conversation. And then they turn around, and who's there?
Hermione. Yeah, it's
Draco Malfoy.
Well,
he overhears their conversation about Hagrid, dragon, going down to see it.
Yeah.
So now they're like, oh no. What has Malfoy seen? What has Malfoy heard? Not good.
That anxiety.
If that wasn't enough, now Malfoy knows.
It's funny, the situation here. Ron and Harry want to go watch this egg hatch, and Hermione, Mother Hermione over there is like, no, we can't do that. We have to study. But she was raised right. She was raised right.
What would you have done, Jeremiah? How many times in your life?
I'm 11. I'm gonna go see the dragon.
I'm watching that dragon hatch all day long.
But if my kid said, hey, there might be a dragon egg hatching tomorrow, but I got this test, I'd be like, hey man, the right thing to do is to do this test.
No,
because I have to instill that.
Like, bro, how many times in your life? You're going to take a lot of tests in your life. You're going to take hundreds of tests and go see go see the dragon. Live stream that for me.
Right?
Do it. I'll chaperone. I don't like you 3 11-year-olds hanging out in that grown man's hut by yourself. I'll be there.
Or better yet, there's going to be a dragon hatching tomorrow.
With contraband animals.
Here's this note for your teacher. You're not going to be in school. You're going to go see
exactly.
Yeah. So they soon found themselves in Hagrid's hut watching the dragon hatch. And I got to tell you, it doesn't get any better from here. Because the joyous occasion was short-lived because all of a sudden there's a blonde streak of hair in the window looking like it's leaving. And naturally, they all freak out, especially Hagrid. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's the one instance where we see Hagrid go, ooh, maybe I should have listened.
Like Hagrid, even if somebody didn't look outside of your window, how long did you think you were going to be able to get away with having a dragon at Hogwarts?
I imagine they're loud.
And really big.
Well, yeah. We get to that. So naturally, as animals do, he started growing, but he didn't grow at the same rate most animals do. He's a dragon. So about 3 weeks later, he's, double or triple the size, and Hermione mentions, hey, you got a wood hut, and he's about to be your hut. He's going to be so big. Yeah. That's insane. But it just gets a little bit more insane as we go. So now, if you remember us talking about Charlie, Ron's brother, you'll remember that we mentioned his brother as a dragon trainer in Romania, and it's mentioned at the top of the chapter. So, naturally, the only logical explanation was to somehow get Norbert to Charlie in Romania. Now, you would think Hagrid, being a giant, could easily carry this dragon. Right? And who's going to say anything to Hagrid walking around with a dragon short of, hey, Hagrid, what are you doing? That's probably the most anybody's going to tell him. No. The three of them have to get rid of this dragon. Not Hagrid, but these three kids.
Hagrid allows it.
These three kids.
Yeah. So they're going down. They've got to study for these tests. They know Malfoy knows. Not only did they overhear, but now he's seen it. They're going down. They're checking on Hagrid. Ron gets bit by the dragon. Hagrid yells at Ron for frightening Norbert. That's why he got bit.
Well, it brings up a couple points. Ron sounds versed in how to handle a dragon, more or less. So how did he allow himself to get bit?
I don't know. Thinking you know about how to to handle a dragon, how to tame a dragon, if you will.
Yeah. And what you did there.
And actually taking care of a dragon have to be two different things, right?
Well, so what part of Ron thought the school nurse wouldn't know that that's a dragon bite? How is he going to convince the school nurse that a dog bit him?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. So dragons are illegal to have, and he thinks a school nurse is immediately going to be able to identify that it's a dragon. Why would she be like, oh, you got bit by a dragon? Madam Pomfrey, what dragon do you think I got bit by?
I would assume she's familiar with different bites that.
You have to remember, there are magical creature classes. Now, they're not talked about this year.
Yeah.
But we learned that those are a thing. So she'd probably be like, okay, yeah, this is a thing. But even with that thought, oh, she might think it's a dragon. Bro, your hand is messed up. Go to the hospital wing. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Like, bro, just go.
Ron, I stood up for you, bro. I said that you were smart in the book. What are you?
You're
making me look stupid.
I told you. This chapter making me question everybody's intelligence.
Yeah.
I told you, Ron does the one thing. He gets bit by a dragon. He's like, I'll never tell. Okay. Dragon venom says bet.
Knowing dragons are illegal, you got bit by a dragon, would you immediately go, get checked out, or would you
immediately go?
I don't know if I would.
Immediately go. From
I
what
think
I know, from what I know of dragons, from what I know of dragons, they have acid that shoots from the back of their throat and it catches on fire, and that's what causes the dragons. So that acid's got to be on their teeth. Now, if I'm 11-year-old and I'm trying not to get expelled,
Well, yeah,
I get it.
assuming you're the 11-year-old,
Yeah,
not the
assuming
38, 39-year-old us.
assuming you're the 11-year-old, I'm sure in your head you're like, oh, it's probably just like a dog bite,
Yeah.
and then boom. But really, the circle of punishment will be: Ron goes to Pomfrey. Pomfrey goes, that's a dragon bite. I'm going to tell Dumbledore. Dumbledore talks to Ron. Whose dragon is it? Hagrid's. Why did you have it? We were trying to help him. We want to get rid of it so he doesn't get in trouble. Okay. Heal this man. Go back to class. Study. This never happened.
I was just going to say.
You know what I'm saying?
Dumbledore would be like, oh, okay, cool. Enough said. We're good.
Yeah, fine. Tell this to no one, and I will give you some lemon drops.
Thank you for being honest about that illegal thing you just did that should get you expelled.
Yeah. So now the thing, I as an 11-year-old, you see the tension building. You see the anxiety building. So he does go to Madame Pomfrey the next day because his hand is jacked. And who visits the infirmary or the hospital wing? Draco Malfoy.
Dear friend Draco.
Draco Malfoy tells Madame Pomfrey, oh, I got to borrow a book from him. So he goes and he's like blackmailing. He's taunting Ron. And he takes the book. So then they're like, okay, look, we got to do this thing with Charlie. Ron, your hand's messed up. Harry and me, we can be under the invisibility cloak to go meet Charlie. And then Ron is like, oh no, the letter that we received from Charlie with the plan to get the dragon to his friends was in the book that Draco Malfoy took. So it's all just like, oh my goodness.
But then again, not to sound like a broken record, man, it's all relatable. I can picture myself do it like, oh crap, he took that book. I was like, oh, whatever. The notes in that book. I put it in there because I thought, well, who is going to look in this book?
It's relatable. And you also have to realize you have these 11-year-olds that are trying to smuggle a dragon out of a magic castle. Something's going to go wrong.
It has to.
So Ron and Hermione, or Harry and Hermione, okay, we got this. We can, us and the crate. They get the crate. Hagrid's blubbering. Hagrid's crying. Okay, get over it. Bye, Norbert. Somehow, they get the crate up to the school, up to, if I remember correctly, the note, is like, get him to the highest astronomy tower or get him to one of the towers. So they have to lug this thing up there. And on their way, they hear a little scrum going on. And McGonagall has caught Malfoy out of bed at nighttime. And Malfoy says, Harry Potter is about to come with the dragon. And Professor McGonagall
make up this rubbish.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? I've heard a lot of things in my day. 20 points from Slytherin. Snape's going to hear about this. They go. So now Harry and Hermione are like, we're going to get away with this. Malfoy's getting detention. 20 points from Slytherin. They're so great. They get up there. Charlie's friends show up. They got the broomsticks. They're like, hey, here's the harness we rigged up.
The deal went good.
The deal went down.
The deal went down.
Right? Norbert is gone. No one is the wiser. They're all happy. They go downstairs, and Filch is standing there. They had left the invisibility cloak on top of the tower. Now, let me tell you how disappointed I am in so many of the people in this chapter. But this would have never happened. Number one, Hermione's too smart to leave the invisibility cloak.
Yeah, how do you just forget that that
And that
extreme piece of the puzzle.
Only thing that Harry has of his father's.
And he just left it behind.
I would say it's his most prized possession. Other than his wand, other than Hedwig, that invisibility cloak. The brightest witch of her age, and your only heirloom from your father. You just left it at the top of a tower. So, I'm questioning everyone's intelligence.
Yeah.
Everyone's. I said it, I meant it. Good day, sir. I said good day.
And at the end of the chapter, it mentions like how they got the dragon up there, they'll never know. And I, in my younger days, have picked stuff up and put it wherever it needed to go. And then as I got older, I tried to do that again and go, I can barely even get this off the ground. How did I get it from here to there? And I remember it being easy. No, what was I on that made that easy? So it reminds me of this situation.
That's another, and I'll say it again, and I'm so sorry for the listeners / viewers. I would love for her to rewrite the first couple books, because they literally have learned in Charms class a spell that will help with levitation.
Okay, let's get into this. Not the 7-word summary. No, stop playing. That's not what we're trying to do. We need to get on our final thoughts right here. I just had to press that button before you continued on that little rant there. So let's continue. Go on.
So they learned a spell.
And they've used it. They've used
the spell
in a fight.
We don't know how we got that crate up there. You're a wizard and a witch.
Wait, there's a couple of times that Ron's like, "Are you a witch or what?"
What are we doing here? So I think
even Hermione kind of hinted that sometimes to Ron. Oh no, how are we gonna get in there? Move out of the way.
I know. Jeez Louise. Those are little things I can get around.
Yeah.
It's not really important how they get Norbert up there.
Yeah.
So Norberta.
I started out saying this is a random chapter. It was a pretty fun chapter, honestly. A lot of
for a kid's book, it's a fun chapter.
It's anxiety filled. It's fun, and at times it makes you go, "Hey, hello, magic, remember that? Magic."
Yeah. So was it necessary? Was the chapter necessary?
No,
not a necessary chapter.
Like I said, it could have been sprinkled in somewhere else that, maybe Hagrid was thinking about getting a dragon, because I don't think
it fits with Hagrid's theme.
Yeah,
along the books.
It does. But I don't think this particular dragon is brought up again. There's a Triwizard tournament where they use dragons, and there is this particular species of dragons, but I believe if it were Norbert, Hagrid would have been like, "Oh my God, Norbert's in the Triwizard tournament." Man, they should have.
No, because he asks Charlie about Norbert, and what does Charlie say?
I don't.
Norberta.
Oh, that's right.
Norberta is actually a girl.
Yeah, I forgot. I was doing research trying to figure out, the origin of or what it's, kind of related to, and I kept seeing Norberta, and I'm like, what are the people? Oh, that's right. It's a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it didn't need to be needed, but it was a fun chapter. I didn't think I'd have that much fun covering this chapter, and we'll never know how they got it up there. Well, it wasn't Wingardium Leviosa, that's for sure.
We never know how we got it up there.
All right, so join us for our next chapter review. It'll be chapter 15, The Forbidden Forest, and man, we are officially wherever you get your podcast. So that's actually pretty exciting to say. We're also on YouTube. Just search for Squibs Corner. Instagram, search for Squibs Corner. Send us an email at squibscorner@gmail.com. Get in touch with us. We would love to hear from you. Get you on here as a guest. Man, it's all about spreading the Harry Potter love, keeping the magic going, coming together as a community. But until next time, I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. Squibs Corner is hosted by Jeremiah Lobot and co-host by Andrew Beecham. We would love to hear from you, so drop us a rate and review, to inquire about being a guest and for questions and comments, or to just give us your Harry Potter story. Email us at squibscorner@gmail.com. To watch Harry Potter merch unboxings, follow my YouTube, @KillPotterGuy. Lastly, you can leave us a voice memo and follow us on Instagram at Squibs Corner Podcast.